Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are tracking the incredible, sweeping evolution of football, going from ancient, hyper-local games all the way to the massive global machine we know today. If you love seeing how a simple concept can totally transform into a world-dominating institution, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to map out the entire lifespan of the world's most popular sport. We'll look at exactly how a simple ball game transcended borders, birthed a multi-billion-dollar business, and sparked both unmatched global unity and, inevitably, deep geopolitical tensions. Let's get into it. All right, here's a quick roadmap for our journey today. We'll cover 1. Origins and modern rules, 2. The game goes global, 3. The World Cup era, 4. Confederations and global tensions, 5. The big football business, and finally 6. New nations and modern scandals. Section 1. Origins and Modern Rules. From ancient games to the birth of football. It's wild to think about, but there is a massive structural leap from the absolute first known ball games in human history to the official birth of football as a codified sport. Back in Era 1, what we have are the earliest ball games known to us. These were deeply isolated, culturally specific practices. There was no single set of rules, it was really just that innate human desire to play. But then we cross the timeline into Era 2, the actual birth of football. This is where the magic happens. Rules are codified, the game is given structure, and it officially transforms from an informal pastime into an organized sport. And that organization, that was the vital spark that prepared the game for literally everything that came next. Section 2. The game goes global. World expansion and internationalization. Think about the stark contrast here. We go from hyper-localized, isolated play, where a game might not even be known to a town just a few miles over, straight into rapid, explosive internationalization across borders. It is a stunning geographical expansion. Football was exported through travel, trade, and cultural exchange. So it wasn't just growing, it was being actively adopted, tweaked, and embraced by different cultures all over the world. This set the permanent groundwork for a truly unified global pastime. Which brings us to Section 3, the World Cup era. The FIFA World Cup and global effervescence. So, the creation of the FIFA World Cup was an absolute game changer. It sparked a period of unmatched global effervescence for the sport. It basically took that rapid internationalization we just talked about and concentrated it into a single explosive event. Suddenly, it wasn't just about playing a sport anymore, right? It was about national pride. It was a global spectacle. It became this unparalleled shared cultural experience that literally captured the attention of the entire planet. Section 4. Confederations and global tensions. Structuring a global superpower. Now, to manage a game that's internationalizing this fast, continental confederations had to be created. The sport had simply grown way too large for a single, centralized entity to micromanage every corner of the globe. So, the world of football was mapped out and divided up into distinct geographic territories. These governing bodies became regional powerhouses. They were tasked with organizing local tournaments and managing the ongoing expansion within their borders. Honestly, it was a brilliantly pragmatic structural solution for a globally expanding phenomenon. But that brings us to a pretty crucial question. What actually happens when a beloved, highly localized sport suddenly transforms into a global superpower? Because when you scale anything from a local playground up to the entire globe, the stakes change dramatically. You guessed it, tensions. Carving the world up into continental confederations naturally led to deep geopolitical frictions. You just can't draw lines on a map, allocate immense cultural power, and expect a perfectly smooth ride. Institutionalizing a global sport meant that football was no longer just about the players on the pitch. It became totally entangled with real-world geopolitics. Nations and regions began vying for influence, fighting for hosting rights, and battling for control over the sport's governing bodies. Essentially, the map of football began to mirror the political map of the world, complete with all its inherent frictions and rivalries. Section 5. The big football business. From sport to a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, the modern football business is the direct result of rapid internationalization colliding head-on with institutional power. Think about the ingredients here. You have audiences engaged from every corner of the globe. You have high organizational tensions driving competition at an institutional level. You have the unmatched commercial power of the FIFA World Cup driving massive broadcast and sponsorship rights. And above all, you have this relentless global engagement. These factors perfectly synthesize into the football business, a highly lucrative, aggressively expanding industry that operates on a scale unlike almost anything else in the world. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this business, consider this number. Over 1.5 million. 1,568,289 to be exact. That number represents the massive audience engagement on just one piece of content summarizing this very history we're talking about today. It proves that the appetite for football extends far, far beyond the 90 minutes of gameplay. People are deeply invested in its origins, its maps, its politics, and its business. And that staggering level of everyday engagement, that is the exact currency that fuels the multi-billion-dollar machine. Finally, Section 6, New Nations and Modern Scandals, the Price of Popularity. This right here is the ultimate modern conflict. On one side of the ledger, you have the triumphant inclusion of new nations emerging onto the global stage. They're finding their voice, participating in the World Cup, and it represents the true unifying spirit of the sport. But then on the other side of the ledger, you have the dark reality of institutional corruption. The immense wealth and organizational tension we just discussed have inevitably bred modern scandals. It is a constant, ongoing tug of war between the beautiful spread of the game and the deeply complicated realities of running a global empire. It's really fascinating to track this progression step by step. Step 1, internationalization creates worldwide demand. Step 2, that massive demand monetizes into the football business. Step 3, trying to manage this massive business breeds geopolitical tensions. And Step 4, immense money combined with high tension inevitably leads to modern scandals. It's a logical, almost inevitable historic pathway that perfectly maps out exactly how we arrived at the current state of modern football. I want to leave you with this final thought today. As the sport continues to expand, can the beautiful game survive its own success? We started this journey with hyper-localized play driven by nothing but the pure joy of the sport. Today, we've mapped out an intricate web of global internationalization, billions of dollars, deep political tension, and corporate controversy. As new nations continue to step onto the pitch, bringing fresh effervescence and passion to the sport, the ultimate question remains: will the core spirit of football outlast the scandals of the business it created? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the incredible histories mapped out right in front of us.